Right. Ooh, focus. There we go. Ladies and germs, boys and girls, the one subscriber. Here we go. So, all moved in. As you can see, we've made some changes. We've got lifting. We've sort of organised some stuff about a bit. So it's now almost organised. As you can see, we've still got the lights up there, which I need to get around to changing a couple of these out because that one don't work and that one don't work, so I need to get around to changing those. I do want to change these as well because they flicker quite badly occasionally. What we managed to do, so we've got a little area here for a kitchen area, kettle, most important thing in a workshop. Yeah, little sink area, got that all cleaned out, so that's a lot cleaner now. Fridge freezer, pressure washer. Wheeled this toolbox in, we moved this bar up so we can get the toolbox under here. Finished the edge of this bench off. Obviously I've painted that with a grey paint just to help it reflect light, make it easier to see things on there and what have you. Radio, we finally got a radio in. Obviously we've got the top box up here. Bin, again, grey epoxy, sort of got organised. Bits and pieces on top of here. General stuff that you use all the time, torches, oils, and what have you. We've got this corner a little bit more organised now. It's not 100% finished, but it is getting there. So we've got oils, oil cans and jugs, screen wash, antifreeze jugs all here. Obviously cases of tools and what have you on the shelf underneath. This top one's become a little bit of a storage. Obviously you can see I've painted that red. That's because obviously this is OSB. It's not the greatest stuff. Obviously if it gets wet or oil gets into it, it'll just turn to mush. So the paint's really, I had it laying around. It just covers it up, stops this absorbing water or oil. That's why I've done that. Obviously I've got a bumper off of a car there, which we're going to fix that corner up a little bit, make it a bit better, and then it can go back on the car. So we've got some stuff up here that's just, it will eventually go. We've got some extra wood from finishing these shelves off because we've put an extra layer on top just to we've done the same down here because this didn't go all the way to the end, so we've stiffened this bottom edge up by putting two on. We've got two layers on the top now, and that's all sorted out. Obviously got the press here, little wheel trolley, you can just move in and out as you need it. Got this toolbox sort of organised, so this all is more of an odds and sods box, bits and pieces, spare plugs, O-rings, terminal blocks, drive shaft clips, you know, screws, self tappers, nuts and bolts obviously in the top there, some panel pins and stuff for Dremels, and this drawer's like nuts and washers. That one's just got bolts in there. It's easier than raiding through little tins like this all the time. And then in the bottom here we've just got bits and pieces as well, some polishing stuff, screws, spare switches and stuff out the other shed. Like I said, not perfect, but it's a lot better just having that there. So if you need a fixing of some description, you know where they are. Obviously we've got space here, so this eventually We'll have probably a couple of oil drums in here, because buying it by the drum works out a lot cheaper than buying it by 5 litres or even by 20 litres. And now we have the space for it, we can store that in there. Then we've got this corner back here, as we can see. So we've got storage for stuff up there, another speaker for the radio. Then we've got the smoker, stock rolls, gloves, transmission fluids, some paints, brake fluids, cleaners, different oils. That sort of fell off the back because I need to find somewhere a bit better to store these. But as you can see, we've got different oils and they're all in. So they're all EXT fluid, you know, they're all that type of oil. So we've got it laid out so we've got a good view of what we've got, so we can just walk over and go, oh, we need 75/90 synthetic. There it is. Stock in this corner, you know, pat fluid, cleaners, bits and pieces. A lot of this is just stock, some of it is used, but then we've got obviously the bits on the top of the shelving over there that we use all the time. So yeah, this corner's not the tidiest, but it's finding its way slowly. I mean, now I've took the Audi bits off of here because I started doing some stuff to that. This is just parts, so spare intake manifold that was leaking, you know, bits that were ordered for stuff that never got used. It's little bits and pieces here and there. All spare parts are there, so that makes life easy. We've made some extra purchases. As you can see, I had some paint left over and I did a patch of the floor, more to see how I like it and if it's something I'm going to do more of. And I think the answer is yes, I'm going to, with a slightly darker colour. This does reflect the light really well and helps you see what you've dropped, but I mean, I've swept this so the dust's not on it, but this is just the dirt, and the problem is it's because the floor is unlevel. It's not stupidly unlevel, but obviously it's concrete and it's not the best, so you do end up with patches where the dirt is. Now a mop and bucket and some water will probably make this clean up a lot quicker and easier, but I think I'm going to go a couple of shades darker, and then I'm going to redo this area up to the feet here, and then probably just square it off across the front of the toolbox and down to the other arm. And then I'll probably paint a similar size area at the back here and across. I have obviously sort of worked this area out, so purchased at the weekend parts cleaner, brand new, never had any fluid put in it, second hand on Facebook, bargain, brilliant. This toolbox I have now, as you can see, the box of stuff's gone off the top, so it's now a little bit more organised. We've still got some missing stuff in the drawers, but we've pulled some of these liners out and sort of started to put some of the extra stuff inside of it, make it a little bit more usable. Underneath of here is just wire brushes and a Halfords kit. This is cement because I filled the hole in the floor over here. TT engine. Yeah. Quick peek at the shells if you didn't see the video. Yeah, she's not very good. So then in this sort of area now, I am ordering another lift. So this area will basically be another working area. And basically where this van's parked, it will be around about where a vehicle will end up. So the column, so basically it's going to be another lift like this, from Ultimotech as well. So it's going to be the same style lift with these bars, but it will sit, so where that patch is in the floor just there, it will sit, pillar will be just about here, and it will be set at an angle. So the idea is that when you drive through the doorway, you will stay close to this door frame with the driver's side of the vehicle, and then basically be able to drive almost perfectly straight onto the lift. That is the plan with this corner. So then the other post will be somewhere around here, which leaves plenty of room for getting round it. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. I can, if I want to, obviously move the welding bench and that back this way a bit and free up a bit more space in this corner if I feel it necessary, but I think that's where the lift's going to end up. I would like to get some floor paint before that and do a similar thing over here and paint a nice big rectangle underneath where the vehicle is. But yeah, so that I think will leave a good sized working area. I'll do the same thing as I did when I bought this lift, and assemble it without bolting it to the floor. Assemble it roughly where I think it's going to need it, or where I think it's going to want to go, and then I can just sort of nudge it and move it around and do that final positioning, because I think this row here is going to stay. Obviously I've got the parts washer. This toolbox on the end helps on this lift. It'll also help with this lift here because you can sort of turn it if you need to. And obviously you've got this workbench. Eventually I will probably get rid of this workbench and put a big workbench across the top. But yeah, that's working out. We've unpacked some of our odds and sods that are laying around. Bought a 2-ton engine crane at the weekend as well. That'll be useful. Now this corner, yeah, I don't particularly like how this corner's turned out so far, but it's turned out the way it has because it has. This has kind of become a little bit of a junk corner, if I'm entirely honest. I don't like the fact that it has, but it has. As you can see, we've got the tire machine and the wheel balancer. Now, the tire machine and the wheel balancer, if you plug them in, do work. So they are usable like that. Obviously, you can see we've got the weights and what have you set up on the top there. The tire machine could do with going back a little bit more, but we are getting there. And then this is just going to be the corner for brake discs and bits and pieces that will go to scrap, but obviously we'll get weighed in at some point. And we've got some barrel storage and obviously the compressor. So we are getting there. We are getting there indeed. Like I say, this is all starting to work out quite nicely. We are in, as you can see, we've still got shelves empty that stuff can go on. We've still got a long way to go before I would consider it right. In fact, I know it'll never be right, but we've still got a fair ways to go, but we are getting there. So that's your shop update. Thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, do whatever internet-y people do, and we'll catch you in the next one.